In backyards, driveways, playgrounds, and gymnasiums all over the country, you'll find boys being boys with a basketball and a dream. The dream is to make it in professional basketball. Fortunately, an official game requires 5 on a side, and the neighborhood little guy gets to play if only to fill out the team.
The Chicago Bulls making his second All-Star appearance, number 10, on the left.
Through the years, basketball has become known as a big man's game. But where would the giants of the hardwood be without the little man? This is the story of basketball's little man.
In second All-Star appearance, number 25, Gail Goodrich.
Century Inside Sports, a close-up look at the world behind the world of sports, the reasons for success and failure, the way the game is really played, men who really play it, from Century Insurance, with protection for your business, your home, your life, protection that's made to order for you.
Well, my actual height is 6'1", and I guess you would have to consider me small. Most of the players in our league are much taller.
Gail Goodrich of the Los Angeles Lakers is one of basketball's most proficient little men. At 6'1", he is certainly above average height on the city streets, but not on a basketball court where teammate Wilt Chamberlain stands 7'2".
Well, I really don't have a definition per se, but I would say a little man in basketball would be a guard, say around 6'2" or under.
I think that probably the best thing that Gail Goodrich does as a player is the fact that he moves so well without the basketball. And it's almost impossible for a defensive player to constantly stay with your man if you're moving and cutting without the ball. But I think along with that, you must have other things as a player. He's a very fine shooter. He's a very fine driver. He's a good foul shooter. So there's some other things that really maybe set him above a lot of other players. But I think all in all, again, one thing that you cannot take away from the little man that most little men have, and that's quickness. And Gail's extremely quick, and particularly, I think when he has the basketball, he does a lot of very tough things for a defensive player to stay with him. So he has many physical assets that maybe a bigger guy couldn't have. I don't think big guys move as well without the basketball, and I don't think they're as quick. And as I say, the fact that he is such a fine all-around player as far as his offensive abilities, going toward the basket, being able to draw fouls and stopping and taking a quick jump shot, this really presents a lot of problems for defensive players.
If Gail Goodrich presents problems for the defense when he has the ball, he faces a difficult time defensing taller opponents.
What I try to do with just about really anybody that I'm guarding, with the way we play defense, is to try to force players to the baseline, using the baseline really as another player, try to force them to the baseline and force players to drive. A player my size where he has trouble defensively is where you allow the player to really to shoot over you, or to get the good jump shot, say the 15-foot jump shot. So what I try to do is try to force players to drive, and of course I have a lot of help from Wilt Chamberlain, but I try to force and run players into Wilt.
There is nothing like having a 7-foot friend, but this wasn't always the case for Gail.
I would have to consider myself small for basketball, particularly the NBA. But oddly enough, I'm really, quite big now. There was a time when I was really much smaller. When I was a 10th grader, entering high school, I was 5'1", and weighed 99 pounds. And needless to say, at that time, my size was really a problem. When I graduated from high school, I was 5'11", and weighed a strong 135. So that, as you can see, I've always really been a small player in the game of basketball.
This season, the Los Angeles Lakers astounded the sports world, reeling off 33 consecutive victories as Goodrich, West, Chamberlain, Hairston, McMillan and company put it all together in incredible fashion, running their opponents right off the court.
I think that during that 33-game streak, that one thing that our team really developed was a great deal of confidence in ourselves, and it just seemed like we would never lose.
Indeed, it must have seemed that way to the opposition, too. The streak began on November 5th and extended to January 9th. Over 2 months of NBA play without a loss. Along the way, the Lakers toppled every team in the league at least once, with the exception of Cincinnati, mercifully spared by the schedule maker. Chamberlain rebounds and quick outlet passes, the Lakers ran right on past the Milwaukee Bucks record of 20 straight wins and looked for new horizons, specifically the all-pro sports standard held by the 1916 New York Giants baseball team. The Lakers tied the mark of 26 and went after number 27, the record breaker, against the Bullets in Baltimore. The Lakers' good luck turned sour right from the opening tip-off. Los Angeles could suddenly do no right. Baltimore could do no wrong, and the streak was in jeopardy. Halfway through quarter number 1, the Bullets were off to a jackrabbit start. Then the explosive Lakers put the pieces back together. Gail Goodrich set the example with quick hands and pretty moves. Jerry West found the range in the best Jerry West tradition, and the Lakers closed the gap to just 4 points at the quarter. Goodrich, en route to a 28-point performance, caught the hot hand. And when he missed, Jerry West went into his acrobatic act to set up Jim McMillan for an easy bucket. The Lakers regained the lead in the second quarter behind the offense of Jerry West and the defense of Will Chamberlain. In the second half, Goodrich and West got the Los Angeles fast break rolling in high gear, blowing the Bullets right out of Civic Center. As the game ended, Coach Bill Sharman's Los Angeles Lakers had won their 27th game in succession, the longest winning streak in professional sports history.
I've always felt that the Boston Celtics winning 8 World Championships in a row is probably the greatest feat ever in professional sports. I think the LA Lakers, we gained our own identity this year when we won 33 straight games, which I think is a great accomplishment.
A hot streak of unusual proportions brings out unusual superstitions in everyone. Gail Goodrich and Jerry West picked some up and didn't mind admitting to them in the least.
I do have some superstitions. I'm always the second player out of the locker room. The last shot, before the buzzer sounds and we're warming up, the last shot will always be a lay-in. I always sit on the bench in a certain place. When the streak started, I used to hand the towel to the trainer. But I think with the first or second game of the streak, for some reason I was somewhat upset or something before, and I threw the towel on the floor. And after that, I started throwing the towel on the floor for 33 more straight games. So I do have a few superstitions.
Well, I had a couple of superstitions during the streak, and as I'm sure that all players had, probably my biggest one was the fact that I wore the same pair of shoes for 21 ball games. And during that time, as I say, I would not even practice in any other shoes. So you can imagine that after 2 months, the shoes were kind of ragged and really not worthwhile.
I think that the goal for the Lakers this year, and I think probably the goal for all the players in the league, of course, is to win an NBA championship. And this year it looks like that ourselves along with Milwaukee, of course, have the two best teams in the league. Well, the difference between last year's Lakers and this year's Lakers, of course, is quite a bit. If you look at our team this year as compared to last year, it's, of course, really a much better team, but the whole style of play has changed. We're a running team, where last year we really had to struggle offensively. But I think that the big difference really would have to be contributed to Bill Sharman. Sharman came in and has really got a great rapport with the players, and he really, I think, has gotten the most out of our team. He's got our team to play together.
You ready to go?
Bill Sharman, like most NBA coaches, is a perpetual sideline talker. He keeps the players on their toes at all times, reminding them of assignments, calling out plays, and offering criticism or praise as the situation dictates.
Nice pass, Jerry, nice pass. All right, come on, let's work on defense
The
now.
eventual timeout will give Coach Sharman an opportunity to cram a full lecture into a 1-minute break in the action.
I know, right? We're taking real bad percentage shots. We're not moving without the ball. We're not passing it. We're forcing shots and then not getting to the shooter. We're playing exactly the way they want us to. Now listen, Lucas has got 3 fouls on him, so let's work and maybe we can get the 4th one. But we got to get movement first. You know, I mean, you got the shot, fine. Well, let's set picks, move. Let's get the fist a few times. 4 or 5 quick passes. But they're moving quick and we're moving slow. All right, let's get the 3 right here now. Come on, gang. Let's go now. Let's go. Come on, Jimmy. Come on, Gail. That 4 on Frazier. Jerry. That's 4 on Frazier. So let's get some 33 or 4A. Gail. I set Jerry up. 4 on Frazier. Get some 4A's for it, okay?
This year, Coach Sharman, I think, has brought something new to the Lakers as far as conditioning, and that is with the calisthenics that we do before every practice, the loosening up exercises.
The Lakers' practice sessions serve several definite purposes. Bill Sharman believes in conditioning, and the players are committed to practicing what Coach Sharman preaches. With a fast break offense, the well-conditioned Lakers try to increase the tempo as the game wears on and the opposition wears down. Additionally, Sharman believes in a set routine for his players in heavy practice sessions, as well as in light shooting drills held regularly the day of each game. Each and every player is responsible for participating in all practice sessions. Even injured players must attend, if only to sit in on the chalk talks. This gung-ho, hard-working attitude is completely new to the Los Angeles Lakers, but the team is obviously thriving on the rigorous schedule, and who's about to complain when the results are so spectacular?
Bill Sharman has instituted, you might say, a bonus and fine system
$5 tip.
for different little things that he likes to see out on a basketball court. And I think he uses it just more or less as a reminder to us. Certainly it's not the money.
250, Jerry, and half.
He gives us a plus $5 and a minus $5 for certain things out on the court. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 ways that you can get a plus $5. And one is stealing a basketball on defense. Another one is blocking a shot. Another one is getting an offensive rebound. And then there are probably, say, 9 or 10 different ways you can lose $5.
The big man in basketball is still essential in building a winner. Will Chamberlain is having his finest season as an all-around performer. His rebounding and defense are the keys needed to trigger the fast break. Will's scoring output has dropped off sharply, but when 2 points are desperately needed, he'll muscle inside and get them.
Well, there's no doubt the big men control the rebounds, they block shots, and it's awfully hard to win without a real good center or a couple of big men up front to do the rebounding. The
pro game is thought by many to be exclusively for the big man. This thought may make for fine conversation, heated discussion, and it might even merit consideration. But Bill Sharman disputes it emphatically.
You need the smaller men to lead the fast break, to call the plays, to be your quarterback. Most of the time, they're the best passers and best dribblers on the team, and like I say, if they have a good outside shot, they're very necessary and very important to coordinating the whole team.
Gail Goodrich personifies basketball's little man. He's an excellent dribbler who seldom loses possession. He seems to have an ESP awareness for finding the open man, and his passes are crisp and accurate. Gail's shooting ability is unquestioned. Calvin Murphy of the Houston Rockets is probably basketball's most exciting little man. The darling of the crowds throughout the NBA, Murphy's darting around the court is reminiscent of a water bug.
Calvin Murphy is probably the fastest man in the league. I'm sure he is as far as his dribbling and trying to penetrate with the ball. He also has a very quick shot, so when he does penetrate or shoot, it's very tough to block. And I think he is probably the very smallest of the so-called small men in the league. I believe he's right around 5'10", but here again, he's proved himself and he's doing a great job.
Archibald of the Cincinnati Royals is pouring points through the hoop at an unbelievable rate this season. Unheralded, Archibald has burst upon the NBA scene as the newest of the fabulous little men. Once again, Bill Sharman comments.
Nate Archibald is another great little man in the game. He's a very fine shooter. He's very quick. He's very hard to guard. He's got all the moves. He drives both ways. He hits from outside. So he's one of the outstanding guards in the league. And like you say, he's one of the little men.
The little man of the New York Knicks, Dean Meminger, is in his rookie season. Dean the Dream is a smooth ball handler and is known for his rugged defensive work in spite of his size.
Dean Meminger for New York started out very well, and a little bit unfortunate for him that New York has so many good guards. It's really hard for him to play as much as he needs to really develop his game. But he looks like he's an excellent passer, playmaker, and he works hard on defense. I think he has a real good chance of being one of the outstanding players in the league. Gail is very intelligent. He's very dedicated. As I mentioned before, he works very hard on defense. He does the things that he has to do to overcome any problems that he might have with size and height. And also he's very coachable.
The big O, Oscar Robertson, is not a little man. But at 6'5", Oscar plays the guard position and is considered by many to be the finest basketball player who ever stepped onto a court. This opinion doesn't get much of an argument from Gail Goodrich.
I think the toughest player that I've had to guard since I've been in the NBA would, of course, be Oscar Robertson. And that's because of size, because he's able to really penetrate and back in. He's an excellent ball handler, and yet he's 6'5", and he can back in and really take advantage of you. He's very, very strong.
If Oscar is number 1, then Jerry West must be number 2.
Playing in the backcourt with Jerry West, of course, is really quite something, because he's playing probably with one of the 2 greatest guards that ever played the game. And he's probably been a player that's really helped me more than anything else. He's helped me with the little things as far as confidence. But he's like, defensively, of course, Jerry's like an octopus out there. He has great anticipation. It's just incredible, some of the passes that he gets or he picks off. Often, a lot of people fail to really realize how such a great defensive player that he is, because offensively he's so great. Everybody, when you talk about Jerry West, you think about Jerry as the great shooter or the great scorer, and he really is a great defensive player. I think he's probably the best defensive guard in the league. I would get probably a few arguments from some players, but he really is very, very tough defensively. Offensively, he's, of course, just super.
Like Robertson, Jerry West is not what you would call a little man, but he does play the backcourt. And as Gail Goodrich put it, what more can you say? He's simply super.
The shot that Jerry made in the All-Star game, when the game gets tight, or when the last few minutes of a ball game that you really need a basket, there's not a better player in the league that you want to go to than Jerry West. It seems that when the pressure is there, he always has got it to make. He's just a great ball player and a great person, a great friend to me.
As the 1972 East-West All-Star game came down to the closing seconds, all knotted up at 110 apiece, the West called on Jerry for a crucial shot. West dribbled left, dribbled right, faked left, and jumped right. Was there ever any doubt? Jerry's shot at the buzzer helped earn him the MVP award and the coveted trophy from NBA Commissioner Walter Kennedy. Meanwhile, the combined backcourt play of West and Goodrich had fans from coast to coast making the comparison between Jerry and Gail and Sharman and Cousy.
I think there is a similarity that Bob Cousy, as we know, was a great playmaker and led the league many years in assists. For this year, Jerry West is doing the same thing. He's leading the league in assists, plus he's doing a great job on defense and doing a great job scoring. On the other hand, Gail is a great shooter, and he certainly complements Jerry West, I think, very well. As far as Cousy and myself, Bob was a playmaker, and I'd usually try to get down quick on that fast break, and he would hit me and give me a lot of easy shots. So it certainly made it very easy for me to play with Bob Cousy.
Comparisons are difficult at best, but there is one difference worth noting. Bob Cousy was an instant hit in the pros, while Gail Goodrich had a tougher road to stardom.
With Gail Goodrich, when we first got him, Gail did not have an opportunity to play very much here in Los Angeles. We had a lot of guards at the time, and then he was traded to Phoenix and through the expansion draft. And when he went to Phoenix, I think he really started to become the kind of basketball player that I know he felt that he could become. And we were very, very fortunate to get him back. He was the kind of player that we needed here in Los Angeles. As I say, I have nothing but nice compliments for Gail Goodrich. To see someone that works so hard and to have improved his game the way he is right now, to me it's a great thrill for everyone who watches basketball to see someone as small as him that has been able to accomplish what he has with the Los Angeles Lakers and in professional basketball.
Gail Goodrich is proof enough that the little man is alive and well in pro basketball. The big men may sweep the boards and block the shots. But next time you see a 7-footer go in for 2 points with a behind-the-back dribble, let us know. Because behind every good big man, there's a good little man.